Morning, everybody. Well, I've been asked to share about the work of Manna House with church today. As you know, it's also our church harvest, and the donations from the harvest are going to the work of Manna House. So first of all, a massive thank you to everybody for your contributions. As it's harvest, I had the idea to share about the work of Manna House by using each of the letters of the word harvest. I couldn't decide the best way to go around it, so that's what I'll do. I'll use each of the letters of the word harvest. So you might sit there and think of better words to describe the work at Manna House, but these are mine for today. There's going to be different volunteers sharing as we go through, so you haven't got to just listen to me all morning, you'll be pleased to know. But one of the most important things that we do at Manna House at the start of every week is we commit the week in prayer every Monday morning, and Kenny usually draws the short straw with that. But thank you to him, because that to me is one of the most important things that we do. We start the week with prayer and we commit the whole week to him. So here's my harvest letters. Okay, so first of all, H. H is for, anybody want to have a guess? History. History. Okay, so the Manna House project came out of vision, as you know, of Mark and Tony, for our church to reach out more into the community. Many of you went to pray over the project, and we went down to the building before any work began back in March 2019. We opened on the 18th of November 2019, with the official opening being the 2nd of December. So it's been nearly 3 years since we've been open. You know, it's been said before that it's no coincidence that Manna House opened prior to COVID and lockdown. God knew what was coming. And we were able to remain open throughout and during the first lockdown. And we arranged actual deliveries to people who had to self-isolate or shield in that first lockdown. We introduced time slot allocations to assist with maintaining the social distancing. And that works so well that we've kept them, because that helps us to know how many people to expect each time we open. So now for some stats history, you know me and my stats. So we're going to just give you a bit. I could have gone on and on with this, but I thought, no, I won't bore them totally to death. So here's some of our current up-to-date history stats really, of where we're at. We've currently got 240 members. Now this was as Friday, when I finished prepping all that side of it. I went in this morning, I've already got 4 more sat there waiting to be approved. So as of Friday, there were 240 members. That's 240 households who are using the pantry. That consists of 385 adults and 301 children. And all but 31 of those have been through the doors in the last 6 months. The 31 who haven't have either not yet visited, 18 of those have only recently been approved, or they're people who have used to come and they've asked for the membership to be reinstated recently and they haven't yet come again. That number changes weekly. I go in and I look at new member applications, and I've had to stop myself from going in every day because it just gets so time consuming. So I go 3 times a week and I look and review and sort the new member applications. But since opening, we've also helped an additional 229 members. So that's people who have used us and don't need us anymore, or that haven't used us for 6 months. And I'll move them to what I call lapsed. That means they're still members, but they're not active members. So they go into another area of the portal. And if any time they need us in the future, they can request their membership to be reinstated and they're brought back. So we've still got members, believe it or not, who joined us back in 2019. And in some ways that's nice. In some ways you think, they shouldn't need us anymore, but they do. That's the world in which we live in now. But, that's the way it is. But so far this year, just this year, I've approved 178 new members. 2022 is going to be the most number of members in any year since we've been open. We've only been open 3 years, but we're already past this time last year. So that's how things are now. We've currently got a regular attendance of between 85 and 100 people a week out of those 240 members. Now get ready for this one. To date, as of last shop on Thursday, we have served 10,652 shops. You shoppers out there, you've done 10,652. When we first opened, the most people we had through the door on day one was 8. And I remember that day very, very well, thinking, oh my life, where is everybody? Now the most we've had through the door on any one day is 59. Okay, so it is amazing. We're one of the few pantries that don't actually use members as the volunteers. All our volunteers are from either this church or the churches. We've been really blessed with that. Okay, so that's my H. Some of my letters going to take longer than others, I'll warn you now, but H done. A, anybody want to have a guess at A? Mark should guess this because he told it me because I was struggling for an A. And you forgot. Accessibility. Again, I've been asked recently, so how do you become a member? And I get found loads of times on the Manna House phone. How do I become a member? Well, people have to apply online to become a member, just answering some basic questions. And we, of course, have to rely on them being truthful in their application. Right? It's not for us to judge. We do have paper application forms if people don't have access to the internet. And the only other criteria we have is they have to live within 3 miles of the pantry. We couldn't cope if we expanded that to a wider range because we get a lot of people within 3 miles. It's all about working within the community. So that's why we've had to do that. And only one person per household can be a member. If people do contact us from outside the area and they're in desperate need, we have done one-off food parcels sometimes to help. All pantries, obviously, it's a membership fee, so they just pay a fee each time they come to shop. They can shop once a week. Ours is £4. And with the recent increase of cost of living, a lot of pantries have had to put their price up. Some of them charge £3.50 up to £5 normally. Most of them have put their prices up. Thankfully, we've opted to stay at £4. And instead, we're doing a lot more work on fundraising. And you'll hear more about that later. So I just want to show you some typical food baskets, which I asked Becky to do for me. There should be 3 pictures coming up. They're not very clear, but you've got the top 2 have got the fruit and veg on them, right? But that's £4 worth of food. That's what people are going home with. And that blue bag on the top left one, first of all, that blue bag is full of nuggets, right? It's full of nuggets. On the next one across, there's a KFC bag. We get donations from KFC. So there's a bag full of KFC there. And on the bottom one, which hasn't got the fruit and veg on it, there's a bag of nuggets and there's a great big Indian takeaway that came from Fairshare. That takeaway itself is worth £6.50. Yeah. On a Tuesday when we're there, when the Fairshare donations come in, I'm Googling loads because we don't know the price of a lot of stuff as to where to put it. So that's how I know a lot of the prices, to know what sort of, where it goes on the shelves or in the fridge freezers. So you can see people get a lot more for the money than £4. And an average value, we reckon, is about £20. We're definitely able to be more generous than a lot of other pantries are, mainly because we are so blessed with donations. We occasionally bless all members with a free week, and we've done that at Easter and Christmas times. We've also blessed them with additional shopping from time to time. It's very easy to judge and to question whether somebody needs our help or not when you look at some of the clothes people might wear, the car they might come in, or even the holidays they've told you that they've just come back from. And I've had to learn myself not to judge, and I still have to do it. Just share a recent conversation. I had a lady phone me up asking about becoming a member. And she shared with me her story about how she got a really good paid job. And she never ever thought that she would be in a position where she would need to go to something like a food bank, as she said, for help. And she was embarrassed. And so I was able to say, no need to be embarrassed, whatever. She'd lost her job, so she was now really in a struggling way. And I was there the day she came in for the first time to shop. Had I not had that conversation, I'd have thought, you don't need us. Because she was really well dressed, really, really smart, looked great. It's so easy for us to judge. And as I say, I've had to really learn that now I've got to stop doing it. Yes, there are members who come through the doors who you question really need the help at Manna House. But thankfully, we know the majority do. And that's what we're there for. And those who don't need us still need to know about God's love for them. So the link with the wonderful volunteers that we've got will hopefully show them a little bit of that. So now we come on to R. R stands for? Receive. No. 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 Roles and responsibilities. Got a double R here. Okay, now before I even start this, apologies if I miss anybody. The worst thing we do in this sort of thing is if somebody sat there, you haven't mentioned me. I'm sorry if I do miss you out at all. Not intentional. But you know, sometimes it can be hard to listen to people share about areas of church work when you're not able to be involved yourself. And you can feel a bit left out. It might be because you're at work and you can't get involved. This isn't the case with Manna House. One of the things I hope everybody today will go away with is the knowledge that you too can play a part at Manna House. It's a work that everybody at church can get involved in, from the youngest to the oldest, whether it's in a small way or a big way. Just because you've got a day job and can't volunteer when we're actually open, there's so much that has to be done behind the scenes. So I just want to go through some of the roles and responsibilities, because a lot of you, I'm very conscious, might not be aware of who does what. Okay, so here we go, hopefully. So first of all, we've got the trustees. If you don't already know, Mark, Tony, Anne, Dave and Matthew are all trustees for Manna House. Mark's the chair and he deals with any official meetings. I fell into the role of coordinator. Anne does all the thank yous. Dave Patton is our treasurer. Matthew does all the social media side of stuff. And Mick and Sue have recently taken on the role as the official fundraisers. And at that point, I am going to have a rest and ask Sue to come just share a little bit about that.
The Manna House runs really smoothly. I think anybody who's part of it will agree with that. And it meets our members' needs. But it really is a team effort. You can't just do it with one or two people. There's quite a team, which Ruth will be showing you later. And in July, Mick and I were approached about becoming fundraisers. He's right now, at Broughton Church, doing a little short talk there because they want to be involved in giving harvest stuff. So you've got the sidekick here. Why do we need to fundraise? Because God has provided in a very wonderful way for 3 years, hasn't he? So why do we need to fundraise? Well, the main reason is that we are his hands and feet here. You know, we need to get involved, mainly so that it will continue into the future, because things are getting tight, aren't they? Really tight, and they're going to get worse. Money-wise, the economy's not so good. And it's going to mean that more people fall into a food poverty area, and they're going to need the help. But we need to be able to help them with their food bills. And that's what we're doing now, but it's going to increase. So really, the fundraising is for longevity, so that this Manna House can continue into the future. Over the past 2.5 months where we've been involved, we've been truly blessed, and God has provided in amazing ways, far more than we imagined, as he often does. And here are some of the ways in which over just the past 2.5 months where we've been involved, that the Lord has blessed us. First of all, since COVID, our little cul-de-sac, we're quite close. I don't know if it's happened to you, all the neighbours. And Mick said to them, right, we're involved with the food bank, told them about it, told them about Manna, that it was a bit different to a food bank, but exactly how we worked. So we had a collection. And people came, neighbours, and just bought little bags of food, and we put it together and brought it to the Manna House. That's how it started. And then we had a knock on the door from Claire, one of our neighbours, and she said, Richard and I have decided we're going to get involved in this. We didn't ask. And she said, we've got a network of about 7 businesses that work with us, and we're going to do a harvest collection. She organised the whole thing. All we did was go and pick it up. So we didn't have to do anything. We just went and picked the harvest up. You know, that's an encouragement, isn't it? Because sometimes it's quite difficult to ask people for money or ask people for things. My husband has no problem with that at all, by the way. He's not embarrassed by it at all. But it can be quite difficult. But when the Lord just sends somebody to your door saying, we're going to do this, that was a real blessing. Also, we've got contacts with schools, many schools. As you know, Mick was a head teacher, and he's got lots of heads who are friends that we see. So we've had some monetary donations from quite a few schools, secondary schools, who want to continue to be involved with things like non-uniform days throughout the year, which will be great. Something else, obviously, the local primary schools have been fantastic. What they've given. I know, Matt, you've been involved in that, and people like Becky and Anne. But what's been given, I was there on Thursday at Manna, and comments were made by people helping. We've never seen the storeroom so full. In fact, we were taking things in and we weren't quite sure if we put another tin on that pile, they're all going to fall down because it's stocked up. That's God's goodness to us. That hasn't cost us anything. Also, our own church harvest and other churches that have given harvest food. Bethel Bakes. We weren't sure about Bethel Bakes this year because we haven't done one for 3 years. What did we get? £1,341. Wow. Our God's big. You know, he doesn't always, keep us limited. He's big and he blesses. Also, I would like your prayers. We've got 2 bids in at the moment. One for Asda for £1,000 and one at Lidl for £500, which would be cash that could go into the coffers for when this lot runs out, and then we can shop. So there will be more bids, but those are the 2 that are in at the moment. So, things are going well at the moment. And it's a team effort. It's people getting involved. And we would just say that, God told us to love one another. And this is a very practical way that we can do that. We are his hands and his feet here. And when you move and when you step out, he blesses.
Okay. Right, so carrying on a little bit, a few more roles and responsibilities, which will lead on nicely. We've got the Neighbourly app that Simon manages, that's the collections from Lidl. We've got the Fair Share Go app, where I manage, which is donations from Tesco's, KFC and Asda. Carol goes and does presentations at schools or whatever, wherever she's needed. But there's lots of other roles, which brings me nicely onto my V. Now, you've got to guess what V is. Very good. Okay, so volunteers. There's a poster on the wall in the office down the Manna House that I think Carol put up not long after we'd opened, and it says this: volunteers are not paid because they're worthless, but because they're priceless. And that is so true. We couldn't run without our wonderful volunteers. We often joke about, you can get paid double this week, or you can get paid triple what you normally get. And it is joking, because nobody gets paid. Everybody gives of their time, and then nobody asks for expenses for the work that they do. So we're really thankful for that. And the roles they cover should come up. So we have the welcomer, which welcomes the members and books them in for the next slots, and generally is available just to have a chat with them and talk about how they're doing. That's Gwen and Carol. The cashier, who takes the money and does the computer side of stuff, Simon and Brian. Giving out the free fruit and veg is Paul, and he's the lead volunteer on a Monday. Then the restocking of the shelves on both days is Bruce, and he's the lead volunteer on a Thursday. And then shopping with members on a Monday, we've got Kenny, Linda and Marie. And on Thursday, we've got Christine, Becky and Marion. You can't quite see on there, but covering for those roles when they're not here. We've got me, Anne, Becky Pritchett, Mick, Jean, Madhu, Sue Parks, lots of different people who are prepared to cover when other people are off sick or on holiday. So now one of our volunteers, Linda, is going to come and share a little bit about what being a volunteer means to her.
I have to write it down because for somebody who's got a lot to say for herself, I should stand here and just look at everybody if I hadn't got it written down. But like Ruth says, I'm going to share about why I volunteer there. The most pleasure I get from volunteering at the Manna House is the people that I meet. I love meeting people who are coming for the groceries. Now, I don't like my own company very much, so I hope other people enjoy my company a bit more than I do, hopefully. I love talking to people and getting to know them. All my life I've been told to talk too much, even now. But some of you remember here, the older ones might remember the old phone advertisement, it's good to talk. Now, I don't mean prattling on just for the sake of it. That's annoying to everybody, I know. But it is good to talk to people. It's the way we make friends and get to know them. So to me, it's my favourite part of working at the Manna House. I've made so many friends there and I feel I've built up a lot of relationships. And I think this is a big part of life, building relationships. Because when you build a relationship up, hopefully you build up a trust and people can share with what's going on in their lives. Apart from the much needed groceries they buy, all of the team want people to come through the doors feeling wanted, appreciated and valued, and sometimes maybe feeling happier than they did when they came in. Quite a few people have told me they feel uplifted when they walk through the doors because it's such a fantastic atmosphere, which is good because it's God's place, it's God's work, and we're God's helpers, aren't we? I mean, some customers, because they can be really down some days, but as relationships are built, they're able to trust us enough to share what's wrong, and sometimes we can help them, even if it's just the promise to pray about the situation. Now, because we're a Christian-based group of people, we are, as Sue said, God's hands, feet and mouthpiece. God loves and cares for all people, and he wants people to know this. So going to the Manna House gives me the opportunity to put this into practice. And I really hope that those who come to use our service do see something of God's love when they come in for their groceries. Now, a spin-off from the Manna House is the 6-week start course held here on a Friday lunchtime, which I also help with. We have 3 regular people from the Manna House clients, and we've had wonderful conversations about how we feel about things and what's going on in our lives and how God fits into it. It really has been another great experience for me. So this is why I love being a volunteer at the Manna House, the great relationships being built. There's nobody here, so I'd like to say a big thank you to the customers for letting me into their lives. That's it, thank you.
Okay, so you've seen the Monday and the Thursday team, so now here's the Tuesday team. So I've managed to grab a picture of the Tuesday volunteers. So this is Sue, Helen, Bev and myself, and we're there on a Tuesday to do the fair share delivery and restocking or putting away the donations, as well as going and getting shopping and other stuff. We regularly have to get in the bin, or should I say, I regularly have to get in the bin, and Bruce has to do it as well on the other days that we're open, just to get everything down so as we can get in. Okay, so I'm going to skip E, and I'm moving on to S. We're coming back to E in a bit. So we're going on for S, and it is support and supplies. Okay, so you've seen the pantry empty. Here's some pictures of the pantry full. So there's the shelves full, then you should have the freezers full. It don't happen on its own. We have to get it from somewhere. And there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to keep the pantry running and the freezers stocked. So there's a load more volunteers involved in this work who can't be there when it's open or also help in these ways. We haven't got time to run through it all, but it's going to come up. But these are all different places that are collected from throughout the week, where we pick up from Lidl, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Farm Foods, Warburton's, Asda, all different places. And on the right-hand side, that's all the different people who help in that way. So you've got Paul, Linda, Mick, Sue, Marion, Brian, Tony, Helen, Becky, Ben, Donna, Joe and Becky help if we've got an Asda, Carol, there's Simon, there's lots of other roles there. So much that goes on behind the scene to keep those shelves stocked. So we're so blessed. We're blessed by all the churches who regularly support us and other individuals who come and bring food. We've recently had harvest donations to collect from 6 schools so far, and we've got more coming in this week. So the red and blue items of the month, the way you can donate, is also a really, really big help. Simon and Paul have to go and fetch additional fruit and veg every week. Back to the harvests. That looks very messy on those pictures, but we had that much harvest. It was just a case of put it down and we'll sort it. I honestly mean it when I say I have never seen the place so full and so blessed. So it is a massive thank you to all our volunteers who help in whatever capacity, but we're always in need of more, especially regarding cover for when people are poorly or go on holiday, because we do have to allow them to have holidays. We do complain sometimes because I think some people have a few too many, right? But we do have to allow holidays. But please, if you are available, please speak to me because you can get involved. So now we're going back to letter E. We are nearly there. This is the one that's going to get you. Okay, this is the one I cannot read for myself. I've got volunteers to read some of this. I've previously shared feedback from members following a survey that was completed a while ago. We've recently had up-to-date feedback. A member of your local pantry team came down and interviewed some of our members one Thursday and asked them about using the Manna House. So he was just left to it. But before that, I've asked Kenny, and he's going to come and share from his experience of shopping with members.
Well, it's nice to be back. Thanks for having me. We've been volunteering now since opening, and it's always been an encouragement to me to be there. I think it's more than an encouragement, it's a privilege to be there. I'm just amazed when people come in. Yes, Ruth said there are people that you think, I'm not sure if you really need us. But then the ones come and you think, that's why we're here. I can tell you general stories, because I don't want to mention people specifically, but generally there's a lady came for first time and she was almost in tears because she could get fresh fruit and veg for her children. She didn't need just to do fast food that night. I think that's lovely. That's why we're there. Another ones come in, and I have lots of these young single dads come in, and they're looking for food that they can make meals from. So they're looking in the freezer. If I get this, then I can get that over on that shelf, and I can put it together to make a meal. That's what we're about, isn't it? It's not just, I'll have a few fancy things and that'll be nice, thank you very much. But people actually looking for meals. I think one of the challenges that we are facing is we're getting people of other faiths coming in who need halal stuff. And we don't have halal stuff. That's the special meats. But we can encourage them to shop and help them to find food that they can have, so they'll have money to buy the halal at the end. So you can be helpful in pointing people in the way they can shop. I love the idea that we're there to have a conversation with people, we can listen to people, and we can guide them where is best for them. It's not just trying to, I know Ruth sometimes says to me, we've got a pile of this, can we shift? But if you have a customer who don't really need anything from that pile, but they need something else, it's by connecting with those people, like Linda said, understanding them because we met them over the weeks and months, we can point them into the things that will bless and encourage their family. And I think a personal shopper is someone who personally shops with that person, not just shifting the things we got a pile of, but trying to find them things that will bless their family. One lovely one happened a few weeks ago. We nicknamed him His Lordship now, because this lovely single dad, he damaged his foot and he could not walk. So he sent his older daughter along to do the shopping. Now that might not sound so strange to you, but she used to come in and he would be on the phone, picture on the phone, and he's there. And so she would walk around with the phone, Dad, would you like this? And she'll go down the shelves like this. And he said, is that Kenny? And I said, yeah, it's me here. He said, Kenny knows what I want. And it's that sort of building that relationship and trusting and growing together. And I love that, sending your daughter in and being on the phone. Often we get people coming in who wants a double shop because their mum, who's also a member, or their daughter, who's also a member, couldn't make it, so they want to shop for them. And we do that too. And over the months and years now, we learned how to do a double shop. Sometimes someone who's not so experienced will go around once, then go around twice. But if you're clever and smart like some of us, we take two baskets at the same time, and we remember who's on one side and who's on the other side, and we get the job done then. But please, if you have any time, have a look around, because that's not just a pile of shopping, not just another shop. That's truly is Manna House. And if you notice the spelling, it is manna as in bread from heaven, and that really is a gift. I'm overwhelmed every Monday morning, because I go on Monday morning, just to stand there. You're standing in the middle of an answer to prayer, because everything around you has been given out of love. Then you think, okay, how can we love and give to others who have a need? And I think that's the wonderful thing of being a volunteer there. It is a privilege and a joy. And if you can't be there, remember to pray for us. You can be a part of it. Remember, if you can give, but just be a part of this and be an encouragement, because we all need a word of encouragement. And I think the last thing I like to say is sometimes this idea that some people, we feel, you turned up in your fancy car, maybe better than my car. Well, that's very possible. And you look, if you're well dressed. I think we can prejudge people. We don't know what has happened. We don't know how they managed to get those things and what happened now. We're not there to judge. We're there to serve and to bless them and accept them where they are. God knows their hearts. We are there just to serve where we can. Thank you.
I'm sure we could do a whole morning of just different volunteers sharing different stories that people have shared with them. I know Gwen could, I know Carol could, because they get a good opportunity to chat. But I covered last week, and just a simple comment that one of the ladies said to me. She said, before I started using this pantry, I'd go some days with no food just to make sure my children were fed. Since I've been coming here, I can also eat. Something so simple as that, and I was like, whoa. Others will say, I've struggled to get the £4 to come this week, but I know I'm not going to be judged when I come through that door. What I want to do now is get 4 different people are going to share read out for you some of the stories. They're going to come up here. These are the interviews. They're just going to be read one after the other of 8 different people. One was a couple, that's why there's only 7. Of what they got to say about what using the pantries means to them.
We heard about it through word of mouth, and it's really helpful for us. The staff are friendly and they always help out and put you at ease. If you want help in getting things, they will give you help 100%. A friend knew we were struggling and they told us about it and we joined. We've got a 7-year-old daughter as well, and with all the cost of living and clothing costs going up, this really helps. We come every week on Thursdays and it makes a big difference. The pantry brings everybody together. When you're in here, you meet friends as well. I wouldn't have met all these people if it weren't for the pantry. It helps us money-wise. We are saving maybe £20 a week, and that means we have a bit more money for other costs and also to spend with my daughter, like days out together and buying clothes and making her life better. You never feel out of place here, and you feel respected. When I first came, I felt low, but now I feel much better about things. It's linked to the church, but we like that. If you're not religious, they don't push that.
I heard about the pantry when someone on a Zoom meeting recommended it and have been coming for the past 4 or 5 months. I was a bit worried at first, but now it is like my second home. They support people however they come. Last week I had a hospital appointment at my usual pantry time, so they rearranged it all for me. And if you've any queries, they're very quick to respond. I pay £4 a week and I get a lot more value than that back. And it sounds weird, but that saving really helps me to be able to go out for a coffee or to meet with a friend through the week, or to be able to get certain things I need. It gives a little extra for me to use. The selection of stuff is really good and they make it enjoyable here. It's dignified and enjoyable and they make you feel respected. I'm disabled and on benefits and cannot work, and it's a real struggle. I live with my stepdad who is 78 and who is struggling on his pension, so I pick up things for him as well. I had been to a food bank before, twice, but this place is perfect with living costs going up. It's a big help. Coming here really helps because I cannot afford to do a normal shop very often because of the cost, maybe just once a month. This gives me relief and it makes my anxiety better. Knowing I have something to cook each week, it's about helping people and helping you do more with your life and keep a roof over your head. I would 100% recommend it to people.
I'm one of the longest running members. I've been coming almost 3 years. I saw it advertised on Facebook and inquired and joined. With what has gone on in my life for the past 3 years, I would not have been able to cope without them. My son is dying and coming down here is a real support for me. I can chat to people and it's a lot of morale support on top of the financial saving. With the cost of food now, this is a big support, and with costs going up, it makes such a difference having this. I have to put a lot of petrol in my car to take him to and from hospital, so things like the pantry really help immensely. It enables me to pay for all that transport. When I come here, people chat, and I feel better meeting them. I have a little chat about what's happening, and it's a relief, a little break. For both the financial support and the moral support, it's really positive. This is my place for being away temporarily from everything else that is going on at home. This is my space and support, and they're lovely.
We were 2 of the first members. I saw it advertised in the newspaper and applied straight away, and we've been here since it opened. That was 3 years ago. We stopped coming for a while as we were in a better position and there were others who needed it. We had the £20 universal credit uplift then, but when that stopped we were struggling again and got back in touch and came back. I absolutely love it here. One of the volunteers has known my family for years and it's very family oriented here. And if I bring the kids, they're all fantastic with them. At the moment, coming here is enabling me to buy baby stuff we need for my new baby. I'm a carer for my mum and dad, so unable to work, and this really helps bridge the gap towards the end of the month. With costs of food and kids' clothing going up, it makes a real difference. It gives you more dignity than a food bank because you know you are paying towards it, and it's lovely coming here. It's fantastic. Meeting the people and getting to know people locally is wonderful. We don't get out socially much, and my main place now is here. It's nice being able to meet different people. I've introduced 2 of my sisters-in-law to it, and they find it very helpful as well.
It's a great support. I had a brain tumour and they always took the time to chat and ask how I was and see if I needed any more help. It's brilliant here. The volunteers are absolutely fantastic. We cannot praise them enough for the work they do. There's always a good selection to choose from and everyone is really friendly. It's like a family. It really helps. I'm putting £50 a time on the electric and costs are killing us. Being able to come here, you have a nice choice and there are always things like meat in the freezer, which is fantastic. At a food bank, you feel everyone is watching and judging. Here, there is no judgment. Everyone has different circumstances and their own needs, and there's no snootiness about it.
I joined 12 months ago and it's brilliant. I heard about it through one of the children's centres on Facebook and I had split from my partner, so I joined and it has been the best thing. I've got 4 children and it brings the costs right down. I must be saving £100 a month. And that means I can pay more easily for things the kids need and do things like going out for a day as a family. It's a chance to meet new people and to get out. I work part-time and have kids who are 17, 11, 6 and 4, so have lots of costs. I'd say to anyone, just have a look at pantries yourself and it will help you to really change your financial situation, definitely. The cost of living is going up and this definitely makes a big, big difference.
I found out about the pantry through a friend who knew I needed help. This does help me a lot, and I reckon there should be more of them. I've been coming here for a couple of years. I felt a bit embarrassed at first and came with a friend, and that helped my confidence. Now, because I know people here, I do not feel embarrassed, and I get on with everybody here. They are really nice. The saving helps me be able to put more electric on the gas. Put more on the electrical gas because that has gone up and up. People should come and have a look and get involved and do not feel embarrassed.
Wow. So I couldn't have read them, so well done you lot, because I've read them I don't know how many times and every time I just listen to it I'm like, if I go again. That's why we do what we do. And that's why we've got such a wonderful group of volunteers. You know, sometimes you can feel this is a thankless task. Hopefully that will have encouraged you, volunteers who are there week after week, to see that what you're doing is well worthwhile and the people that you're helping. That leads me on to my final letter, T, which is thank you. Okay, so the last letter is thank you. Got a picture of the thank you board that's up in the waiting area. Carol thankfully does all the little things for that. That should be as up to date as we can be at the moment of who is currently helping us. There's more schools to go up there after next week. But, you know, most importantly, we've got to thank God for his faithfulness with this project. It's absolutely amazing how we are blessed with donations. It's amazing how often, and Sue will back me up on this, something we know we need, we get to Farm Foods and it's waiting in the donation basket. It's just amazing. As I said before, there's a role for everybody at church to be involved with the work of Manna House. There's so much that needs to be done, not just when the pantry's open. There's a work that you can do. I've been so encouraged by 2 little boys from this church and their involvement, and I've got some pictures of them here. Jacob and Jonah often come trundling in, especially during the school holidays, with the donations. And the one week I was there and Jonah had brought some stuff in and somebody had dropped something and it had spilt. And I turned round and there he was with a blinking dustpan and brush. Nobody had given it him. He got it himself and he was sweeping up whatever it was that had been spilt. Everybody can get involved in this work. But if you can't get there physically, if you can't help with going and collecting stuff, the most important thing you can do is pray. Pray for the work. Pray for that contact that all our volunteers have with these members week in, week out. God's blessed us in so many ways with volunteers, donations, gifts and so many different contacts. We hope this Christmas to be able to do the toys again, the toy service, and give members their new toys. I had a conversation with a mum only this week who says she doesn't know how she's going to cope this Christmas. She's not going to be able to do Christmas. Hopefully we can help her out with toys for the kids. But it's a massive, massive thank you. I can't say it enough to everybody for all you do, whether when we're open or behind the scenes. I've just got some final verses from the Bible to share with you, which I'm sure are not new to anybody, but they're final words of encouragement as God continues to bless, encourage and astound us with his provision. 1 Corinthians 15 verse 58 says, "Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labour in the Lord is not in vain." In the Amplified Version it reads, "Therefore, my brothers, beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord, always doing your best and doing more than is needed, being continually aware that your labour, even to the point of exhaustion, in the Lord is not futile nor wasted. It is never without purpose." And in Galatians 6 verse 9, "Let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart." Amplified Version, "Let us not grow weary or become discouraged in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap if we do not give in." I really believe that there's a field of people at Manna House that God has planted. They might not be ready for harvesting just yet, but they are searching for answers, and we've got them. So if you're not already involved, pray for this work. Pray that God will touch people's hearts. Pray that God will give our volunteers that opportunity to share about him. It's not just about giving people food. It's about sharing about our Saviour. So please pray for those people who come through the doors each week, that they would see God's love for them and want to know more about him for themselves. Thank you for listening.